Hello, this is Rebecca with Beyond 20, and today we are going to be looking at the Service Operations workspace and how to add new categories and lists over here on the left-hand side. And we are doing this in the Utah release today. So for the example, we want to add a new category over here called requested items, and we want it listed directly here underneath requests. And within the category, we're going to create a new list called hardware that is filtering out the requested items for those in the hardware category. So the first thing that we're going to do is navigate to the correct scope. So I am moving from the global scope to the Service Operations Workspace Core scope. And then once we are here, I'm going to come up and navigate to the UI Builder. And you'll see that that's nested here underneath the Now Experience framework. And once that is opened up, we'll have a whole list of experiences over here, and we are looking for that Service Operations Workspace experience. And after clicking on there, we're going to look for the list because that's where we are making our changes. So I'm going to grab List SNC. And then from here, I want to grab that list nav. It's over here on the left-hand side. You might have to click on this arrow to get access to it, but click on list nav and then jump on over here to the right. You're going to be underneath the configuration tab and then click on this configuration link, and it's going to open up a new tab for you. And we are looking for this default SOW. And then from here, you can see a couple of related lists. We've got one for categories and one for the underlying lists. So you can see these categories over here are what's already in the system. The new one that I'm creating, I mentioned I want it directly here under request. So I'm just going to make note of that order number. We go from 100 to 150. So I'm going to grab a number between those. I'm going to click on new, and we are going to call our new category requested items. I'm going to give it an order of 125, so it falls directly underneath requests. And then the configuration is just going to be that default SOW, or you can always refer back to whatever configuration is used for the existing categories and use that same one. So I'm going to click Save here so we can stay on the form, and then we're going to add our underlying list within that category. So from here, I'm going to click on New, and we wanted that list to be called Hardware. So I'm just going to call this hardware. And then we'll just give it an order of 10 just to have it first in line here. All right, so we're going to grab that requested item table. And then again, the configuration, you can grab that default SOW. And then we are adding conditions here to identify which fields we want to show up or which records we want to show up in that list. So I want to start with just making sure that they are active records. And then we're going to drill down to the category to make sure that we are only looking at the hardware category. So to do that, I'm going to have to show related list so I can dot walk into that item category. Got my catalog item fields, and then I'm going to search for category here and then just pick those that are hardware. Okay, so now I've got it filtered to the records that I want to see. And this is where we can add the columns that we want visible on that list view. You can either manually add the columns, or if you have an existing view, you can select that. For today, I'm just going to manually add in those columns that I want to see. So we'll go with the number, the item, and then the requested for. We'll just stick with those 3 columns for now, and then submit that. And then that gets that new category and the new list created, but it doesn't give access to that to anyone yet. So before we are finished, we need to make sure that we're granting access to the list to the appropriate users. So I'm going to come back over here to my UI Builder and click on M2M applicability. And what this applicability is doing is it's linking an audience to that specific list to give them access to it. And so what you see over here is a bunch of existing audiences. For today, I'm just going to use one of those existing ones because it has the role that I need. So you can see there's already an audience called SOW ITIL audience, and it's associated with the ITIL role. So anyone with that role will be able to get access to this once I associate this audience with my new list. So I'm going to come over here and click on New and identify that list that I just created called Hardware. And then for the applicability, I'll grab that SOW ITIL audience. And then that's associating that audience with that list. And I'll click submit here. And then those are all the steps that I need to do to create that category and the list and give access. So just to test it out, I'm going to come back over here to my Service Operations workspace and then impersonate an ITIL user. Just grab that user ITIL who has the ITIL role. And then I'm in the Service Operations workspace view here, coming over to the list. And we can see that now underneath request, we have that new category called requested items with a filtered list for the hardware specific items. So if I click on that list, we're going to see just those 3 columns I had configured for the number, the item name, and then the requested for. And then we can see these items here are all standard laptops, so they all fall underneath that category of hardware. So that is the process for getting a new category and list added within the Service Operations workspace view. Thank you.